pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop.
And welcome back to the Purple Pants Podcast, pit stop coverage of Amazing Race, Season 5, Episode 11. I'm so excited to be joined by my very lovely, clumsy, amazing, and oh so funny co-host, Ms. Brooke Camhigh, the winner of Amazing Race, Season 29. Brooke, how are you doing today?
Everything's falling apart. But other than that, I am fantastic. And I come to you not alone today, Mr. Bryce Isaiah. I bring with me one half of the winning team of Amazing Race 32. Yes, obviously. The king of alliances himself, smart, fabulous, and gorgeous, Mr. James Wallington. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast.
Thank you for that intro, Bryce. It's so good to see your face. Brooke, so great to see your face. And I'm so excited to talk about Amazing Race Season 5, one of the most iconic seasons.
And you maybe got the best episode.
Honestly, when you reached out and you were like, which episode? I picked episode 11, not really knowing like what took place in this episode. So when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, this was the perfect episode to pick with the whole "my ox is broken," like one of the most iconic lines.
It spawned a book. Man wrote a book.
What is so crazy is that this is my first time watching this season, James, and I have heard that, and I'm like, I don't know what people are talking about, but I always pretend like I know. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. But after watching this episode, I am screaming. But listen, James, it's all fun and games, and we are so excited to have you. But we have to get down to serious business, and I feel like you. No, he is. James is the person, Brooke. James is the person, because one thing I know about James is that he is prepared, he's ready, and he doesn't play any games.
Don't suck up to him.
I'm not. I'm just saying the qualities that I know about James. And also, here's another quality that I feel like people don't know about James. James is extremely tall.
6'1".
I am always surprised every time I'm around you, James. I am always surprised. Like, I have to look up to you and Will, and I'm not short, but that's just another fun fact about James. James is really tall.
We do get that quite a bit. Like, I mean, like reality TV function we've been to, everyone's always like, you guys are so much taller in person. I'm like, well, especially with Will, I'm like, he's huge.
Just ask him the question so we can get into the episode, because what's going to happen?
No, here she go. No, Brooke, I'm not letting you do this. I'm not letting you do this today. Your ox is not broken.
Okay, just ask him to define a elimination for you.
What is your definition of a elimination?
You can't even say it. Elimination. Could you please describe the definition of a elimination?
Of what elimination means to you?
Jesus.
To me, it's like so straightforward of like, you're eliminated by Phil.
But where?
Oh, in New Zealand.
No. Like okay, so
no leading, just ask.
I'm not going to lead.
Okay.
So is every elimination a elimination, or is it only an elimination that doesn't take place on the mat?
Oh, okay. See, now if we're getting super technical at it, then yes, I would say elimination is definitely when Phil comes to you, not on the mat.
Okay. So
but that's it. That's what he said. That's it.
That's like the technical, but then there's like that blanket term where I think some people would say, oh, it's when you're eliminated by Phil on a non-elimination leg. But I would say, as a fan, I would say it's when Phil comes to you and you're not at the mat. And not everyone has had that misfortune. That's only been a handful of teams.
Brooke, you're celebrating. We always agree on this. I don't disagree that is okay.
Fine.
So now
James,
where we disagree.
Don't even say where we disagree. If a team has decided.
No, let me ask, because you got to ask that. Let me ask this. We got James. Sorry, James. We're real chaotic. And
Brooke I love it. I love it.
Beautiful disaster.
So, on this season, Marshall and Lance, they quit. And then Phil came and essentially
eliminated them.
Allegedly. Now, the question at hand is, was that the first Phil elimination?
Or not the first, because he might not know the season before. Was that a elimination?
Was that a Phil elimination?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
They quit, and then he came. And by definition, what you
don't
said...
you're telling me not to lead him.
I'm just reminding him. Okay.
It's just tough to say because a quit is a quit. So you're forcing Phil to come to you to eliminate you because you're giving up.
And since Phil is coming to you to eliminate you.
And like season 6 with Lena and Christy, they fought with pushing the hay bales. Like they never gave up to the point where Phil had to come to them. I would say that with Marshall and Lance, it's not really like you quit.
That's why I love James. Because
what I'm saying is James's definition was when Phil comes to you in the field
no.
and you're eliminated.
That's the definition.
Whether you quit, whether you're still working, whether you can't finish, whether you don't finish, whatever, it's the act of Phil coming to you in the field to say you're done here.
And then I would also agree with Brooke on that point. Yes, it is the act of Phil coming to you. But I'm like, but Marshall Lynch also quit. So how can you be eliminated?
Thank you.
Because he told you to go home. It was an elimination leg. He told you to go home. He came to you. All right.
I get both points.
He's Switzerland. James is Switzerland. Let's stop harassing the guests, Bryce.
Sorry. And
but they quit.
Side note, Bryce is a little bit salty because this was like discussed in this week's episode that was aired with Mr. Danny Butler. And the people on the YouTube comments are so agreeing with Brooke that Bryce is so angry and thinks that I've created fake YouTube accounts to like.
But she did.
Which I don't know.
First of all, James, one person agreed with her, and the account was Cam Brooke.
Brooke's mom. The account was Brooke's.
It was Cam Brooke Bye. I said, girl, that's you.
I got it.
She was like, it's not.
That's an alias. That's right. An alias.
Also,
season 5, episode 11.
Real quick, before we continue, last week we had Ricky and Caesar on, and James, I was saying this to you early. Tell me you on Amazing Race and you won it without telling me you're on Amazing Race and won it. I love the Amazing Race cue card behind James that's like strategically placed where you can't really see it, but you see it.
The flag, very subtle here.
The flag.
Nice. We have a gnome, little thing.
Let me tilt my...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. And Brooke has... y'all winners. Brooke, and look at Brooke's...
That's the moment we cross the finish line right there. We keep our...
You got to make a shrine of the experience. I'm sorry. You just have to.
This is the moment that I won Survivor Season 28. I took a little piece of the tree and...
No, you're leaving that spot ready for Survivor 50 when you win.
Amen. From your mouth.
You're manifesting what's to come and what's meant for you.
I'm super excited to watch season 50 because it's as a fan, and I know you are a fan, James. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. But listen, let's get into episode
from the beach while you're
11. Now that we know that James agrees with Bryce with a Phil elimination.
Were you here for the last 7 minutes? Okay, whatever. It's fine. You know what? Yes, Bryce, that's correct. Everyone who's watching this, feel free to write in the comments how James did not actually agree with Bryce and bring Bryce back down to earth. Okay.
I'm so sorry. My name this episode is B. Camby. I agree with you. I agree.
I thought he was going to hang up on me. He hangs up on me every week. I just get prepared to just go like this and be hung up on.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Season 11 episode. No, season 5 episode. Ooh, that's backwards. Season 5 episode 11. We got 4 teams left. One team's going to get lost right away. We got Fears of Heights. We have the yield finally being used. And we have the best detour meltdown, maybe in Amazing Race history. It was a detour that got turned into a roadblock because one team member just decided, I'm not going to participate in this. We're not going to get my feet dirty because it's so deep, Colin. And here we go. We have Colin and Christy who leave at 4:56 in the morning. Linda and Karen in second place. Who knows what's going to happen with them at 6:23. Brandon and Nicole. James, you should know this. Brandon and Nicole are on a team of 4. It's Brandon, Nicole, Jesus, and Satan because they work. Oh, he knows. Okay, great. And then Chip and Kim at 7:02 a.m. So you have about 2 hours and 15 minutes between team 1 and team 4. So to start the leg out, the teams are driving to Auckland, 220 miles, and finding this marina and this yacht just to get a clue. 220?
So we are
clear.
That's the amount of miles that season 36 travel in total.
Right.
In total.
Yes. And we said it in front of Ricky and Caesar's face, and they appreciate it because it's not their fault. They didn't plan the route. No. They just nailed everything that they could.
Yep.
So, whatever. So what I love about this season is it's drive a ton of miles to a boat, find the boat, pull down a thingy, and you don't have to do anything. That's just your next clue. The extra amount of things that they have to do this season is so great because it's not just go somewhere, do a task, go somewhere, do a class, check in. So I love that there's so many more.
I also like with like the old school seasons where like they obviously ended the previous leg in New Zealand, but they're starting the leg still in New Zealand, doing some tasks, and then halfway through flying to another country. Like, to me, the race was so much harder back then. Like, I can't even imagine just the stress and anxiety with traveling mid-leg to a completely different country.
And like 11 hours on an airplane mid-leg. It's not even like something short. It was, I think Linda was like, well, that was a quick 11 hours.
And then
so ridiculous.
Diving right into doing tasks. It's like, they're not even a rest period.
No, there's no resting. Rest is for the week. So
what I do love,
at
the start of this, when we get people's confessional, like, and I was a little nervous because I didn't believe it because all season, Chip has not been serious. I love that at the start of this episode, Chip is like, we're getting serious. We're not playing. Now I'm watching it like, tell another lie, Chip, because everything that we have seen thus far, you're the nice guy, you're the fun one, but this episode didn't disappoint. And so I love in the newer seasons of Amazing Race, they love the foreshadow. And so I'm like, y'all are really foreshadowing because Chip wasn't chipper this episode.
This was the first foreshadow. No, I don't know if that's true. It's probably not true. Anyway, Colin and Christy are in their car talking about it. Everybody else sucks. Like, they blatantly are like, the other teams suck. We're amazing. Linda and Karen, I don't know what was going on with Linda and Karen here, but they hate each other for like 5 minutes. Yeah, they really. I think Karen woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah.
Linda and Karen were not bickering. Linda was
Karen was bickering. Linda was driving, and Karen's like, I don't know where we're going. She's like, just give me the map. I can't do both. Which do you want to do? And then she's like,
well, I can't drive and navigate.
Well, she can't. I actually am team Linda on this one because then Linda's like, well, then where do we go? And Karen's like, I don't know, Linda. Like a little bit snippy from Karen.
Okay.
But they got over it pretty fast.
So you watched season 36, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Rod and Letitia?
Yeah.
Did Chi-Chi was always supposed to be navigating, but was Chi-Chi navigating?
I don't know what that has to do with the price of eggs. I'm saying, like, this is...
what I am saying is Karen, no, James, because she's not funny. Karen was a little flustered. She couldn't get it. And then Linda's like, what are we doing? Chi-Chi struggles sometimes with navigating, but Rod never cheated Chi-Chi like that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Linda was on one.
It makes me wonder, like, if there was something that happened that morning because it felt very out of left field for me because I love the Bowling Moms. They're one of my favorite teams.
Find me someone who doesn't, and I'll find you someone who's stupid. They're
love
amazing.
Them. So when I saw that moment, I was like, wait a minute, like, this is not the Bowling Moms that I like remember and like love, but there had to have been something starting the morning rough for these two.
Yeah. I
will
agree.
also say I was here for Linda when she pulled the car over.
Oh yeah,
like, give me the map. Listen, she was like, "I'll do it." Like, I was like, "Okay, Linda." I was here for Linda in that moment because when you get frustrated, it's like, "What do you want me to do?" So although I don't agree with her, I do agree with her. Just call me Chip because I'm back and forth.
I didn't even write on page 2. Okay, goodbye. Where is the? What? Somebody else talk. Don't they go to boats? Didn't I not write? Maybe I'm just out of order.
So they had the drive to go to the boats to pull down to get the clue. And then I believe that the clue said that you're going to Manila.
Yeah.
It was the roadblock going to the bridge.
Okay. So have strong arms, have strong legs, and have no fear of heights. It's so funny to me that like Brandon opens the clue and Nicole's like, you're doing it. Chip opens the clue and Kim's like, obviously you. And Chip is like, what is it? She's like, doesn't matter. It's you. Like, it's just so funny to me. Colin and Christy get there first. He starts climbing the thing. He's not afraid of anything. Dude walks across the catwalk thing like it's the middle of the road. Like, he doesn't.
I would have been. My legs would have been so like.
You would have been a Chip where he was like.
Oh yeah, I would have been hyperventilating for sure.
I don't mind heights. Heights don't really do it for me. But Colin was like moseying, like he did. There was no fear whatsoever, and then he just
like it's normal to walk like 175 feet above the ground.
I think he would have dove off the thing if he could have gone head first. Yeah, like he was very into it.
I don't know if it was because it's like not in HD, it's in VHS mode where I was watching and I'm like, where are the safety cables? Like they like it was hard for me to see exactly where the cables were because that was extremely high and it looked far. Like I was surprised that no one actually fell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean,
and the wind, like the wind, because when we had to do that on our season, and we were 180 feet, about the same as the Harbor Bridge, and the wind up there is crazy. So, yeah, like that, I would assume the wind would cause a little bit of off balance or something.
Or just the fear and then peeing yourself. I think it might have been a little bit wider than we were giving it credit for. It looked very narrow. Chip with his feet next to each other were just like, he had a little bit of room.
If it was in HD, you would see like it's like
and we would see, but because it was in VHS, it was a little fuzzy. However, have you guys ever been on a bridge and it's windy and you're driving and you can feel the wind kind of shift your car?
Yeah, so then it's like imagine standing like something like how was the wind not a factor for any of them?
The only thing I can think is because it was below that there was like a hangover of the bridge on the side and perhaps they were protected a bit. But I don't know. We may have to find someone and we may have to ask them. I'll call Colin. I don't know Colin. What do I think I'm doing? Anyway, Brandon and Nicole get their second. She's all, my boyfriend's so hot and blah, blah, whatever. She's not
wrong though.
He's not for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, he is not a fan of heights, but she doesn't give him the option to not do it. So he's doing it. And then Chip gets there third and he's my favorite. He's like, the blood of Jesus, like the Jesus. And I'm like, Chip, Jesus is not on your team. He's on Brandon's team. So you're praying the wrong person. But that's fine. And finally, Linda gets there because the bowling moms have gotten lost. Clearly, nobody knew how to read a map because whatever. But Chip does say if the bowling moms are able to do this, they're going to win this whole damn race. And maybe that's foreshadowing, Bryce, because I know you haven't seen the next one and you don't know who wins this damn thing. So
and up until now, and spoiler alert of this episode, after last week's episode, James, I just knew the bowling moms won it. I also feel like we are not talking enough about how hard it has to be to climb up that ladder. Like
175 feet. Like that's not going to be like 2 minutes. Like that's going to take a minute to get up there.
And it's like the string ladder. It's not like, it's like you got.
Why did I think it was 75 feet? I mean, either way, it's a lot. But maybe you're right. Maybe it is 100. That's a lot. That's like 17 stories.
Maybe it was 75 and I don't know. Triggered by 175.
And at this moment, though, when Chip sees the bowling moms coming and Chip is saying, if they can do it, they've won the race. And I sat up in my bed and I was like, I'm right. The bowling moms win because they complete the task. And I was like, yes.
I felt for Linda. Linda was really cute when she finished. She's like, can I sit? Are you sure I'm not going to die? Like, and then she leaps off and she's looking all Peter Pan and they're back being best friends again. Like, I don't know what happened in that car, but whatever it was, they get over it quickly, which I appreciate. They can bicker for a hot second and then they're back to being best friends. So the next clue says fly to Manila in the Philippines, 5,000 miles. So in the middle of a leg, let's just do a quick, really long flight and travel to this motor, I don't know, Malaguena. I'm going to mispronounce it. Motor hut for your next clue. Colin, go ahead. What? Tell me your
hot take is
when
I flew out to Survivor 28, we flew into the Philippines. So I was like, I've taken that 11, 13-hour flight before. So, I don't have an Amazing Race cue card behind me, but I got Manila in my heart.
Yes. I love Manila.
I have not been, so maybe I have to put it on my list of places to go. And or maybe if there's ever a winner's season, then they'll take us there. And James and I will be in an alliance. Hopefully.
And I already know Manila, so we got it unlocked.
Okay.
Yay!
Oh, I love this. So real quick, James, do you think season 40 of The Amazing Race, like they did on season 40 of Survivor, Winners at War, like, don't you feel like it's only appropriate that they would do an all-winner season?
Yeah, I think that we're all hopeful that would be a thing. I think a victory lap season would just be exciting. Even if I was never on the show and if I had never won, I, as a fan, would be like, thrilled to see that because I loved it with Survivor and it worked. I think it just depends on how the next couple of seasons go and kind of what the network and the producers are thinking. Because only one team has ever been invited back that was a winner, and that's Uchenna and Joyce. So it's like,
well, guess you
they don't really like winners, I feel like. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful, and I know Brooke's hopeful. I know a lot of winners are hopeful. So only time will tell.
I know. I'm excited. Okay, so Colin and Christy go to the airport. They get on they have a flight that's leaving in 20 minutes. That flight's delayed just a little bit, but they feel so lucky. They get on this flight. They're going to get in so much earlier than everybody else. Everything is amazing. The other 3 teams get to the airport and they have to go on a flight to Hong Kong instead of going through, I don't know, Singapore. And they're not getting to Manila till the next morning. But Colin and Christy are supposed to get there the same night. Long story short, too late. Colin and Christy's second flight they can't get on it because their first flight is too late. And they end up having to go to Hong Kong to get there the next morning. They think they're over. They think they're out of it. My favorite thing that happens this episode is Colin and Christy go to the airport in Hong Kong and they go and sleep. Everybody else.
And they sleep everywhere.
Chip is like cute snoring. And his snoring I found very relaxing. Anyway, the other 3 teams are sleeping in a different area of the airport. In the morning, they all come together at the gate and everyone's so excited to see everybody else because Colin and Christy know they're not last. The other teams know they're not first. And it's just a really good editing moment. Like, because I'm glad they didn't see each other till the gate as opposed to the night before because that's a little bit less fun. I don't know. That's my feeling.
I think in that moment, Christy was like, she was saying like, it's hard to tell if the teams are actually excited to see us or are they like relieved that it's like, bitch, y'all not in front of us. So that was a fun moment. And again, I love this in the older seasons where so much of the drama comes from just like technicalities that you can't control.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge element of the show that's missed on the most like recent seasons. And like, I feel like that's why these earlier seasons were so insane because you would love a team and then something happens with like a fight or something that's out of their control and then they're eliminated. So there's just a little bit more of an unpredictability factor there.
I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that's another reason that like season 40, if it's winners, I think that would be so interesting because the people who won back in the day when the race was, I mean, I'll agree, harder, are now going to be, 20 years older. Now, some of them were 20 at the time, so they're basically my age now. But the people who are newer, who are a little bit younger in their winnings, didn't have to deal with so much. So the question is, do you favor the teams that had to do so much more to get where they were going, but they now don't have the age advantage anymore? Or do you favor the newer teams who are a bit younger, probably in a little bit better shape, but didn't have to work so hard? Because imagine some of these teams on season 5, they'd be like shell shocked of the amount of stuff that needed to be done to win a leg. So I think that do season 40 all winners. It'd be so interesting.
And that's why I always say, I know people love like records and statistics, but I'm like, the race is so different every single season that like you cannot compare apples to oranges with this show. Like you just can't. Every season, the leg design, the route, the luck variabilities, like it's just so different every season that it's hard to say who is the best team overall because every season's so different. You drop the same cast on a different season, the winner and the outcome is going to be entirely different.
Yep.
It's so interesting because the same point can be made, although this is Amazing Race, Survivor, right?
Yeah.
Where Survivor older seasons are so different than the newer seasons. They didn't have idols. They didn't have these advantages. And so it was the same thing almost on season 40. And just, I'm not with the statistics, but I do believe on season 40, someone from season 28 won a second time. And so it leads me to believe that those seasons around 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 would more than likely on
32.
Sorry, 30. Oh, wait, 32.
Yeah.
Those seasons would be at a higher level of potentially to win.
Preach it.
And I'm not biased, although I do know what a elimination is.
Don't think you do. Okay, so anyway, all the teams get in cabs to go to this motor place. Chip and Kim immediately make friends with their cab driver. Brandon and Nicole pass Chip and Kim, and they have this exchange for this moment because they know the yield is coming up. And Brandon and Nicole, Linda and Karen, and Chip and Kim have all decided we're gonna yield them. This is the moment. Like, there's nothing else left. What?
Okay, so here's where I have a huge issue. So Chip and Kim, Brandon, Christy, and Brandon, Nikki,
Nicole,
Jesus, and Satan, they pass each other. They're like, yield them. We need to yield them. And this is where I got pissed off because when we got to the yield, right, it wasn't like James got there 20 minutes later, Brooke got there 5 minutes later, I got there. It seemed like the bowling moms, Chip and Kim, and Brandon, Satan, Jesus, and Nikki were all on the mat.
I'll clear it up for you. No, I can clear it up for you because I know you're annoyed because
I was pissed off because
I know.
Like, Chip and Kim, y'all doing the most. Why are y'all so hyped to yield? Let these other teams yield them.
Because Kim is the shit. And I'll tell you what, you can't do anything until your entire team is there. So yes, Brandon was there, but Nikki was slower. And you have Linda was there.
Kim.
But step off the mat, and then what? God forbid somebody changes their mind and they yield Chip and Kim because they're just as. Wow. I don't think that would have happened. But Chip and Kim were the first complete team on the mat, so they had the opportunity first. They could have said we're not doing it and left it to the other two, but you don't want to take that chance. They all, who cares at this point? Although Chip, I think, felt really, really badly. You could see in his face where he's like, I can't even look at them.
But also, it's like you all agreed to do it. And like, if Chip and Kim got there and they were like, we're not going to do it, then I think the other two teams would be like,
right.
Why? So like, I feel like they really had no other option, but
they had one other option. The other option, which would have been very cool, is if all three teams put their picture of the courtesy on the bottom together.
That would have been so iconic.
I think that would have been, I don't know if the producers would have allowed it, but since they all got there at the same time, I think if all three pictures at the bottom, that's the only thing that would have made Colin's eyes bug out of his head. Exactly. I would have been like, put your picture up too. Like, don't be a loser. Like, just do it with me. I think that would have been great.
The even funnier part of that is, and I have to remember that it's 2004, but I still feel like this is a TV show and the production budget is very high. Why are the photo images, it looked like somebody just printed them out at the library and cut them out because they're like barely in color. It looks like half of Chip and Kim is in color and their little photo like clipped at the bottom. I was like,
they look like they're just screen grabs of the intro.
Right.
Like, aren't those photos like the intro where they're like,
right.
For us, like we literally took it on an iPhone and they looked amazing. I was like, can I get that after the show? Because it's such a great
intro photo
picture.
was taken on an iPhone?
No, like our U-turn photos were taken on.
Yes. No, ours were taken on a camera.
Good. I was like, I need a copy.
Hey, so James, yours was taken on an iPhone. Brooke, yours was taken on a Nokia.
Ours was taken on a real camera. They took us around. The thing was, ours were taken. How did that work? Ours were taken individually, and then they were matched together because ours were taken before we started the race, and we didn't know our partner yet. So our pictures were mashed up together. Our little credit picture video thing was taken at the end of the race because we didn't know our partners at the beginning of the race. So you can tell if you look closely the teams that lasted the longest because we look ragged as hell in our like beginning credits thing. Anyway, this is the moment. The yield is used. Chip and Kim use it. I'm so excited. The best part is it's used and it's right there. So all three teams are doing their thing. Linda and Karen snaps to the bowling moms because moms can do anything, and they put together all their kids' toys and all that crap. Are the first ones out. Chip and Kim show up. Colin and Christy show up. They think they're in first place. They do the thing where Christy's like, you think everyone's behind us, right? And then they get there and she's like, they used it. If looks could kill, everybody there would be assassinated because Colin's look, I don't think he's just, yes, that's it. That's the look. That one right there. Terrifying. That's terrifying. Actually, Bryce, that's terrifying. Okay.
It's the fact that in the clips that they show of Chip, and I don't know if it's editing or not, but the fact that you don't see Chip look over his shoulder at all, it is now, although Colin is a lot I'm not mad. If I'm Colin, I'm giving you that same exact energy in that moment.
I think I would have been yelling. I think I would have been trying to like get him off his game yelling. That's not the right spot, Chip. Way to mess it up, Chip. Doesn't look right. No, bowling mom's God. That's not how they did it, Chip. I think I really would have been trying to get in his head.
Colin reminded me of season 35. What was my girl's name? Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Oh, Anna Lee.
Anna Lee, when they yielded her and she came out and she said, did you yield us?
You did it?
Did you do it? Did you do it? Like, I like that type of energy, but I also love the fact that, like, finally the game is being played. And I also feel like, right, it only took 11 legs and 3,037 miles later.
Right.
But I think that Colin and Christy are like, well, we're not playing the game like this. I can't believe that. First of all, they keep saying that every time they go past the yield, Colin and Christy, like, we're not playing that type of game. Well, bitch, I don't care what type of game you're playing, but if it's here for us to use, let's utilize it. Like, you're the top team to beat. What did you expect? That we were going to be like, we bow down.
Here's the $1 million. No, he's handing you the check. Come on.
We can't bow down to you, Colin, when we got Jesus on the team. Like, that's like, we can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, the bowling moms put together their jeepney, and here the jeepney has to drive them like 40 some odd miles. It's not like down the block. So this is like another time where, you know, the leads can change, although the jeepney drivers seem to know where they're going. So Linda and Karen finished first. Brandon and Nicole, Jesus and Satan finished second. Chip and Kim finished third. He cannot even look up. Their car goes by and he's like, I feel so ashamed. And I'm saying, don't feel ashamed. You did it right. Be ashamed.
That was a strategic move.
Exactly.
Why be ashamed? It's there for a reason. You used it.
Better them than you. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But I will say, I do feel like Colin's staring directly into Chip and Kim's soul worked, because Chip and Kim, I'm yelling at the screen like, what are y'all doing? Hurry up. Like, they're kind of, I really feel like that pressure of Colin right there really slowed them down. Even y'all should have been able to figure that out a lot faster.
I do wonder if it had been Brandon and Nicole or Linda and Karen who ended up using the yield, what Colin's response would have been, because
it's Colin.
I feel like Chip and Kim and them had a good relationship throughout the race. And I think they were kind of taken aback because, like you're saying, Chip is so chipper. And like, I think it was very unassuming, like, whoa, like we never would have assumed Chip and Kim would have yielded us. I think
don't underestimate Chip and Kim. That's all I'm saying.
And define good relationship, right? Because it's like
you've known each other like for 2 weeks. Right. Like, relax. Like,
and last episode, y'all got on the plane faster than Chip and Kim because, like, so yeah. But I do also feel like it's Colin. So Colin would have been pissed at anybody.
That's fair.
Colin would be like, I love the bowl. I can't believe the bowling moms.
Dare you do this to me?
Colin would have been like, I'm a sinner. I can't believe Satan. Yeah,
he would have made it religious. He's like, Satan got in your ear and told you to yield us. Like, that's not Christian life.
No, that is not very Catholic or Christian of you. So, okay. So the teams are going to find the giant duck. So the first 3 teams are going there. I think this is where this is not where in Brandon and Nicole. We'll talk about it later. Colin and Christy are in fourth. Their jeepney is going. Christy's lost her mind. This girl has lost her mind.
I was laughing. She's like venting to the jeepney driver. Like, we've been yielded. And I'm like, this guy
doesn't know what that means. He doesn't care.
He doesn't know what that means.
More than that, she honks over and honks his horn to the point where Colin of all people has to go, yo, calm down. You need to calm it down. This is too much. You cannot do that. You need to, like, Colin is
what does
like,
that say?
Here's the twist. Here is the twist. Colin is calming you down.
Right. What does that say?
You are so far gone that something is really, really wrong. Like, that's all I'm going to say about that.
At this very moment, I understood the Colin and Christy dynamic, because up until now, I'm like, Christy girl, you in danger. Like, you know, I was like, girl. But in this moment, when a pregnant mom, a grandmom, and 2 kids are crossing the street,
run them over. We don't care. Just run them over. They don't matter. What matters is getting to the giant duck. Do it. Honk, honk, whatever. No, not okay. Anyway,
Christy,
I digress. She's
pregnant.
Please hurry. Fast. Run them over.
The concerning thing about this whole situation was I felt like the concern that we got from Colin was that it seemed like the driver was following Christy's orders.
Yeah.
Right? Like I really felt like if Colin did intervene, he was going to run them people over.
Look, it's not your fault if the driver listens. Okay, so the teams get to the duck. Linda and Karen are there. Then Brandon, Nicole, Jesus, and Satan. Chip and Kim and Colin and Christy are last. And we're there. We are at the world's best task. It's not even a great task. That's the thing. The task is not meant to be like this iconic task. Like,
no,
it's
but
not
it's delivered
particularly
one
hard.
Of the most memorable.
Right.
Yes.
So this is it. Like, say it with me. My ox is broken. This is like Colin.
Meltdown.
But you know what? In rewatching it, I don't really think it's Colin's fault. So I'm going to say it. I'm not Team Colin. I'm Team Ox because this poor ox was not treated super well. So again, I'm Team Animal 100% of the time. So for anyone who didn't watch it because it's amazing. But the detour, which one team treats as a roadblock, is, repeat, detour is plow or foul. And in foul, it doesn't matter because nobody does it. You have to herd 1,000 ducks, like 150 feet from one pen to another. Now, I understand why nobody did that because ducks will fly and herding ducks sounds no. But Nicole said, let's do the ducks. And then Brandon's all, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this one, which Brandon, good on you because
yes.
I think it would have been a different outcome if you tried to do the ducks. So Brandon and Nicole get there first. They do the right thing where Nicole is leading the ox and Brandon is walking behind. And that way they know where they're going and they work in a grid and they find it in about 8 seconds because Jesus says it's over here and there it is and they found it. Fine. Linda and Karen get there. They both work with the ox. And Linda finds it maybe in 10 minutes. Like they're pretty fast. Chip and Kim gets there. And Chip is moving way too fast for Kim. Kim has gotten into the mud, which Cammie and Carly thought she would never do, but she does it, and she doesn't complain, although I don't think she's thrilled about it. And Chip actually finds it from the front of the ox, and they're out of there as Colin and Christy are showing up. Christy didn't understand the assignment because this is a detour. She does not get in the pen, so Colin is having to guide the ox and work the plow, which is not really humanly possible, which leads to maybe the best moment in Amazing Race history, where he has the biggest hissy fit over this ox. And my favorite part is Christy from the sidelines being like, why aren't you doing it right? Like, why can't you figure this out? Go over there. Like, what do you want?
Why aren't you in the mud?
Right. Well, I can't really do anything from over here. What do you want me to do about it? And Colin's like, get in. She's like, but it's deep. And I'm like, okay. Get in the mud. Nobody else is drowning. Get in the mud. I would like to hear your takes on the world's best detour.
Yeah, I mean, I hate animal tasks for a lot of different reasons.
Them.
But the main thing being animals are unpredictable. Like you really aren't in control. Like you are at the beck and call of the animal if it's going to be successful or not. So anytime we were at a detour and it was either something animal related or not animal related, we never did the animal task because it's like, well, if they're having a bad day, we don't have control over that.
If they're having a chip day.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of the most like memorable and iconic scenes in the history of The Amazing Race. And to like flash forward to season 31 and just seeing the evolution of Colin and Christy from this particular moment, it's honestly so sweet. Like I love how far that they've come and like their relationship, their understanding of the world, their respect for each, like it's just a night and day difference. Like I'm watching this, I'm like, this is not the same Colin and Christy.
No, it's not. I don't know what I don't judge. I don't know if there was like a medication involved, something where like I don't know if it's mantras and yoga and someone's found their spirituality. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is worked because the new person that comes back is so much more well equipped to like run the world, and it's just like a better version of themselves, and that's really, really great. I mean all of this in the most positive way possible.
I hear that. I always hear people saying that whenever they talk about Colin and Christy on that second season. But let me ask y'all this: were they as fun to watch?
No, I don't think so.
James?
I think the only thing that made them fun to watch was the fact that it was like a completely different team. Like it was just like,
so it wasn't even like, okay.
It was like, this is a completely new team that we're watching race for the first time.
Also, the season was not as good, so maybe that's why it didn't make them as fun to watch. Season 5 is so good that anywhere else, like it just was a little lackluster in general, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, James is right. Were they as fun to watch? No. I don't think so. But also, they were not the same team. So it was like I was watching them waiting
was
for
fun, but it didn't mean it was like fun to watch because like
that's fair.
Well, you kind of like meltdowns. You like.
I was waiting. They even put a task in with a cow on purpose so that when Colin gets there, he has to calmly be like, all right, let me pick the cow that's looking at me and looks the best. Like they tried. They did whatever they could to try and trigger a meltdown. Didn't work. Man had grown up. Like
Now they should have done a switchback to Manila and done this detour again. But now instead of making it a detour, make it a roadblock so that they're forced to do it. So. That would have been great television.
That would have been perfection. I would have tuned in for that many, many, many times. Okay, so Colin has lost his mind. Christy has lost the ability to help in any way, shape, or form. And then everyone else, so they have to go to the Coconut Palace in Manila is their checkpoint, pit stop, right? Pit stop. What's the name of this podcast? Okay, pit stop. So the thing is this, you can't take a cab. From where you are, you have to get on a bus. All of the teams are smart enough to realize at some point we need to get in a cab. Colin and Christy, I think, are the first to realize this. Yes, we'll get on this bus, but as soon as we can, we're getting out. And that makes the editing so good here because at what point did you get on the bus? What point did you get off the bus? The interesting thing for me is Brandon and Nicole get in a cab. Jesus is hanging from the rearview mirror, which is amazing. So you know they're going to be fine because, Jesus has officially taken the wheel. Right. You have Linda and Karen who get off the same bus, but they can't find a cab. So Linda is high-pitched squealing for a cab. Karen
But can we also talk about, girl, it's not like James, I'm saying get off the bus on 12th and 13th Street and get a cab. They in the middle of a highway.
Traffic in Manila is chaotic. Like it's crazy.
They need that whistle. Charlotte and Myrna would have had no problem finding a cab because they've got that whistle. And Charlotte would throw herself in front of a cab to get that thing to stop. They would not. Myrna would have been like, my friend, get out of the cab. I need this cab. They would have had no issue, but that is them and whatever.
They wouldn't even got a cab. They would have just pulled some regular person over and they'd be like, my friend is in labor. She needs to get to the hospital. She has an appointment.
They didn't say you couldn't hijack a car. I really feel like they might have hijacked a car. So Chip and Kim are offering more money to their cab driver if they get there fast. Colin is literally throwing 20s at his cab driver who says the speed limit is 100, but I guess that means we just have to break the law, which is amazing, which makes Christy so happy because
time out, girl. What was he throwing at the cab drivers?
20s.
Oh, okay.
What?
If only he had that same energy
in
Africa, they would have been far ahead at this point, but
in the Philippines, he's willing to throw 20s. In Africa, it's principle. The man is a very principled man. He has decided you can't drive me on a donut. You don't have a spare. You don't get your fare. Oh.
Okay, Dr. Seuss.
Come on.
Woo! I've lost my mind. Okay. Anyway, Chip and Kim get to the Coconut Palace first. They went a trip to Hawaii. They would be happy being third. They had no idea they were in the front. So Chip and Kim, first place. Linda and Karen, second place. They are beside themselves excited. Brandon, Nicole, Jesus, and Satan come in a solid third and bringing up the rear. And I will say this, there are too many non-elimination legs in this season of the race because this is ridiculous. The final non-elimination where Phil says, you will start the next leg with no money. And I say, liar, because I love Phil. But no, because Colin and Christy get to do the exact same thing that Brandon and Nicole did. And during the pit stop, get to go and beg people in a hotel for money. So no, they did not start the next leg with no money. They actually started the leg with, I believe, more money than everybody else. But I digress. That's another argument for another day. The end.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't love this not being a non-elimination race. I wish that we would have saw more non-elimination rounds in the beginning. You're saving them for the final 3 episodes, which makes it really, 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 really good to watch. But I also feel like towards the end, I just feel like it's a room.
Yeah, but what do you want to say? Donnie and
Natalia
Erica?
season.
Is that what it was? Donnie and Erica? Was that a team? Like, were they there for 5? Allison and Donnie? I don't know. Someone and Erica. You don't even remember. Who cares? You don't want to save them. You want Colin and Christy in your final episode. So I'm not mad about that.
Right.
But it is a lot of non-eliminations, like just scooched up
4.
there. Right
Wasn't there like 4
4.
total?
That's a lot.
We had 2, and I feel like 2 is like
a lot still.
We had 2 and to keep racing. So it was technically, like 3, but 2. And okay, it was legs. Keep racing was leg 5, and then 7 and 9. 7 and 9 were non-elimination legs, and that's fine because then there was still 10, 11. 10 and 11 were you got kicked out, and so and the people who got kicked out were not so happy. Anyway,
what random fact? Because I'm just trying to drop my amazing race facts. Would you two rather a non-elimination leg or 3 back-to-back non-elimination legs, or a global pandemic happens and you come back and just a random team from before because another team dropped out and the random team is back in the race again?
I feel like we can't vote for pandemic. I feel like in good conscience I can't vote for pandemic, although 3 back-to-back non-eliminations has never happened, and I think that would be really anticlimactic for television. I'm not voting for pandemic.
I just vote for 2 non-eliminations. The whole no non-eliminations makes it more predictable to me, not as an exciting of a finish. So it would be nice if they threw like 1 or 2 back in these future seasons, but 4 is just too much.
And they had 2 that were back. There were 2 legs in a row that were non-elimination. I'm like, like that. I don't know. Space them out. Keep a couple.
It's only 3 episodes left. So like, I feel like with the 2 back-to-back.
Right. When they had the first, like when they had those, there were only a few episodes left. And there's one more. You have to know you're almost at the end. Although it'd be interesting to know if they knew beforehand how many legs of the race there would be, because I don't know if Phil told them in the beginning there'd be 4 non-elimination. Like maybe they think, I don't know, they just went to the Philippines. Maybe they think they're hopping another stop before they head back. They're going to Canada. They don't even go right back to the US. In the next leg, they still do 2 countries. Like this season is bonkers. Like they never stop stopping. Like it's so good.
And the bowling moms are still in it.
They are still in it. They may win it. You don't know. I mean, you don't know. I know. James knows. It's real. I can't. Bryce is going to call me when he watches the last one, and I cannot wait because it's just going to be like,
I know. I'm trying not to say too much because I know like what's going to happen. But
so here's the thing, though, right? You can just tell me, James, right? It's just us talking. I really wanted to be the bowling moms. However, I feel like it's Colin and Christy. Like I feel like this is their season to win.
All I'm going to say, I had the same mindset as you at this point. Linda and Karen all the way, but I was like, Colin and Christy are going to win it.
Right. And so, so James has confirmed.
I mean, the best part about this is like now tonight, you can go watch it. You've watched every other one. So this is it for you. I don't know what you're going to do when the season is over, but
it's one of my favorite seasons. Like regardless of the outcome, like it's just like a sweet, like this season 5 is one of the top seasons for a reason. So many iconic teams, some that should have gotten to race twice that didn't. Season 5 is great. It's iconic. And yeah, I loved recapping this episode with y'all because the yield was in it. First time it was ever played in Amazing Race history.
So wait, was it in the seasons before this, but no one ever played it?
No, this was the first season that introduced the yield, but Chip and Kim were the first team to ever use it in the US version. And then it came back for like 6, 7, 8, 9, and season 11.
Did you guys have it? We didn't have it.
And then it stopped up until our season. And then our season.
Oh, yeah, you did have it because
they twisted the format of the yield where we had the hourglasses and some were 10 minutes, some were 20. But these were all, I think, 30-minute yield. Which,
I thought it was 15, but it might have been 30.
Oh,
you might be right.
I just know that the way they did it on our season made it different because I'm like 10 minutes isn't that like, eh. But if it was higher minutes, it would have, I think people would have played them more.
But this one,
I don't want to piss a team off.
Yeah, 10 minutes might not be enough. Although maybe you do want to piss a team off. Just mess with them a little bit.
Not when there's U-turns.
What?
Well, some of the seasons recently didn't have those either. So I am excited for the next season because I think, and James, you might know better than me because I try and not like look at things. All this crap is back. Like all the things are back. It's going to be glorious and beautiful. And Bryce, I'm going to have to explain to you so many things because there are things that you will not have seen.
Bryce, in Survivor terms, it's like Survivor Ghost Island, but now it's Amazing Race Ghost Island because they're bringing back a lot of the twists from Amazing Race's like vault, and it's going to be applied every leg, which I think they need after 36. Nothing against that season, but I do think that they needed to revamp 37 so it didn't feel so linear, didn't feel so predictable, and shake up the placements a little bit. So I'm excited, and honestly, it would have been a great twist for an all-winner season, but
Yes. And maybe it's so watch this. After all this, there'll be an all-winner season, and Ricky and Cesar, who I think could win anything, but people on the internet, because people are rude, are like, they didn't have to work hard. They had so many advantages, blah, blah, whatever. They come in and mop the floor with all of us with like every twist and turn. Except maybe not the two of us. We'll have to work with them. And then
before we go, James, though,
hitching my horse to every cart.
I've been telling Brooke this whole season, right? Watching the older seasons. During your season, I was an internet warrior for you because I felt like so many people during you and Will's season, they're like, it's not Survivor. They're working together. And so I was new to Amazing Race at that point in time. And I'm like, why are y'all mad? Because my baby boys know how to play the game. Like, what's up? And it's so crazy to see in this season. Like
prime example, Chip and Kim, Brandon and Nicole, we're gonna yield. They had a plan in place. Like if that happened in modern Amazing Race, that would be like uproar on social media. Like
people need to get over it. Alliances have been there since the beginning. And honestly, they make it more interesting. Like they make it more fun. Like you want, and as a player, yeah, of course you want to align with people and help each other. I mean, we had teams we were working with and teams that we weren't working with. And that's part of the game. You need to keep yourself in it. Like as the older person and like not the fastest or the strongest, like you bet your ass I'm going to be the friendliest. I'm going to make friends with people who don't want to let me go.
The race is very much a social race more than I think viewers get to see because there's so much downtime at the airports, on the airplanes, like you really form connections. And then with our season, with how it was designed, with the yields and U-turns, you wanted to create relationships where you're not on the back end of either of these twists. So yeah, it's been around since season 1. I think the difference was we actually made it long-term. That was just a strength we have is like, we are the glue of our friend circles. And we were able to bring that to the race and form a really tight group.
And win.
Put me in your friend circle.
Okay. And win. Well, this has been so amazing. I love everything about season 5, but particularly episode 11 is very special to me because we got to have James on this episode. Thank you so much, James. And I can't wait to watch the episode tonight for the season finale of Amazing Race season 5. But listen, this has been your Purple Pants Podcast pit stop coverage of Amazing Race season 5, episode 11. We'll be back next week covering the finale.
Now I can't wait to know what you think when the whole thing is done.
Well, I will add you to my call list tonight, James, tonight, because I'll be ready.
He watches things though at like 2 in the but James is in an earlier time zone, so that's okay.
No, right. So it'll be regular time for James. So
man.
Just answer your text. Yes. All right. We'll be back next week. Bye, guys. Thank you, James. Bye, Brooke.
Thank you. Bye.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.